Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the new Incarnon weapon, the Dera Vandal. Now in this weapon series, I take a weapon, I build it out, and I test that weapon on its own merits, meaning I don't mix it with any kind of external factors that would increase weapon performance. I just test it built out by itself, and I let the viewers make their own intelligent conclusions about adding external things. So the Dera is the new weapon that has an Incarnon available for it, and you can put that Incarnon adapter on either the Dera or the Dera Vandal. And between the Dera and the Dera Vandal is going to be the best one to put it on. And it's because the Vandal is better than the regular Dera in every way except for an extreme slight decrease in the Riven disposition. So the Riven dispositions are actually the same, but like if you look at the multipliers on them, there's like a fractional difference between the Vandal and the regular Dera. So for that reason, the Dera Vandal, if you have it available, should be the one you put your adapter on. We have the top commenter of the last video. It's actually a three-way tie. All three of them had 5 likes on their comments. It's Mutari, Montero U, and Lapis DT. And then we have the first commenter of the last video, Project Sunny 309. Then we have a recent supporter here of Johnny. All right, let's go into the Dera Vandal. And we'll take a look at it here. I want to go over the interesting and unique things about the Dera Vandal first. So the regular Dera Vandal without the Incarnon mode is basically just like a little assault rifle. It's a little assault rifle. It's you know, pretty basic. Nothing too crazy. It's very status focused. However, when you use the evolutions, it changes to be like still decent in crit as well. But without the Incarnon, it would be a little bit more status focused. Okay. Now, if we look at the Incarnon, the unique and interesting things about the Incarnon is that it has innate magnetic. So you get magnetic for free without having to put it on the weapon. That's really cool. It also has an innate 3 meters of punch through, which is really nice because a lot of times we use a mod called Prime Shred to add punch through and fire rate. But this time, because the weapon actually has innate punch through, we can use the more powerful fire rate mod of Vile Acceleration. So that's really cool. All right, that's pretty much it for the unique and interesting things. So what we'll do now is we're going to go over the mods for the Dera Vandal here. So we're going to start with Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot, Galvanized Scope for crit chance, Vile Acceleration for that 90 fire rate instead of the 55 that we usually get with Prime Shred. So that's really cool. We get a little bit extra fire rate there. Hammer Shot, although there is an option for bladed rounds here as well. So Hammer Shot is 60% critical damage and 80% status chance. Bladed Rounds, which is the mod that competes against Hammer Shot for this slot, is 120% crit damage, okay? So you lose 60 crit damage by going Hammer Shot, but you gain status chance. The reason this is possibly competitive against Bladed Rounds is because of the actual status we go on this weapon, which in this case is Blast, but Gas is also... Blast and Gas will be your 2 best options for the Dera Vandal. So normally in my builds on low alpha weapons, we go with Viral. And Viral makes sense on low alpha weapons. It does a lot of damage. It beats most other elements. However, once a weapon starts getting more and more alpha damage and it starts being able to one-shot enemies, you no longer get value out of Viral. Because Viral, you need to hit, apply Viral, and then the second hit takes that Viral into effect and you get that boosted health damage. Well, if a shot kills an enemy in 1 hit, you're not getting any value out of Viral. And so for that reason, other elements, when you have a higher alpha weapon, other elements start becoming way better than Viral. And the 2 elements that are really, really good on one-shot type weapons are Blast and Gas, because Blast and Gas both have after-death effects. Blast, the dude just blows up and does AoE damage, and Gas, there is a lingering dot cloud. So for one-shot weapons, Blast and Gas are amazing. Now, the Dera Vandal is sometimes a one-shot, and sometimes it's not. If you do a body shot, it'll usually be a two-shot to take an enemy down. And so for that reason, because it's not like always 100% a one-shot, like it's kind of in between being low alpha and high alpha, you could also consider other elements like electric. Electric is really good as well. But for this weapon, because it does so much damage and because a lot of times you are one-shotting enemies, I feel like viral is a bit of a loser here. So, okay, and I brought that up because we were talking about hammer shot versus bladed rounds. So, again, hammer shot, you lose 60% crit damage, which sucks because bladed rounds is 120, but you get 80 status chance. Well, blast and gas, like, they don't mind getting multiple procs. Like, it's nice if you can have extra blast procs or gas procs. So you don't... It's really up to you here. You can go with the bladed rounds for 60 more crit damage, or you can go with hammer shot for just more consistent blast procs, or more blast procs if you get lucky. Maybe you get 2 or 3 blast procs on an enemy if you get lucky. Both are really good. They're very close. I couldn't really tell the difference in damage output between both of them, so you could pick what you like. I will say hammer shot is incredibly rare, probably one of the rarest mods in the game. So an extreme pain in the butt to farm. I'm all down for farming, but I think if I would suggest this to like people, I would say just buy it off Warframe Market. It's probably easier to just buy it instead of farming this thing. I farmed it, but it was friggin' horrible. All right. Next slots here, we're going to go Critical Delay for crit chance. Vital Sense for crit damage. And then in the 2 element slots here, we're going to make Blast. But remember, you can go Gas too. Blast or Gas are going to be really good. So I'm going to go 60-60 Cold and the 60-60 Heat to make Blast. So kind of the same reason why Hammer Shot is an option is the same reason why you probably wouldn't want to go primed cryo rounds, because you actually want status chance. So, I know it's tempting. You see primed cryo rounds and you're like, oof, maybe I can get some more damage out of it. And you could get more upfront damage out of it, but you'd be getting less consistent procs. So, all right. In the Exilus slot, there are a couple of options here. So, with just Deadhead and without Stabilizer, there is a little tiny bit. Like if I was to take Stabilizer off. So with Deadhead gives you negative 50% weapon recoil. So with Deadhead, there's a little tiny bit of recoil left over. If you want to completely remove the leftover recoil, you could put Stabilizer in this slot, which is what I'm going to do. I'm a little bit OCD about my recoil. I really hate recoil, so I like Stabilizer. But also consider Vigilante Supplies. This is a 5% chance to enhance critical hits from primary weapons. This is good on high fire rate, high multi-shot weapons. This weapon is the Incarnon mode, I should say, is a low fire rate, average multi-shot weapon. So Vigilante Supplies is not like an auto pick on this weapon. You would get minimal value out of Vigilante Supplies. But would it technically be a DPS increase over Stabilizer? Yeah, absolutely. It's just that you're going to get minimal value out of Vigilante Supplies on this type of a weapon. And then the other option is, this is kind of a weird option too, is Agile Aim. So when you're aiming in, you move 20% faster. This is pretty nice too. This is another utility pick, kind of like Stabilizer. I think out of the 2 utility picks, though, I like Stabilizer better. I just want to remove that recoil completely. But if you want to completely eke out a little bit more DPS, you could consider Vigilante Supplies here. Alrighty. So now in the Arcane slot, we're going to go for Primary Deadhead. This is going to give us 360% flat damage, a 30% headshot multiplier, and negative 50% weapon recoil. And that's why we're choosing it there. And this is the build for the Dera Vandal. This is how you would build it out. And you have the optional, between Blast and Gas. Both are really good. Some certain of those two are going to perform better in certain situations than others, so you can kind of swap them out and see which one you like. All right, let's go over the evolutions for the Dera Vandal Incarnon here. So the first evolution is that you've just, you got the adapter. Congratulations. Second evolution Paragon Essence is the one we're going to be picking here. Increases your base damage by +4, and on a status effect, you get +5% fire rate for 5 seconds, and it stacks up to 6 times, so 30% fire rate. It's not a lot, but the weapon's Incarnon mode has a very slow fire rate. It's more of like a sniper rifle fire rate. Now, with Paragon Essence and the Vial Acceleration that we're putting on, it starts to feel more like a pulse rifle instead of a pulse sniper rifle. Like, it starts to go a little bit quicker. So that's why I like Paragon Essence there. You get the 4 base and damage, and then you get the 30% fire rate. The other one here, Crimson Overture, I don't think this is good. You get a little bit more base damage with +6 instead of +4. But then you have the ammo efficiency effect, which doesn't affect the Incarnon mode. So this is kind of a loser. All right, you have the third evolutions here. You have 2 okay picks, but they're both kind of crappy, to be honest. So you have this one here that I'm going to go with, which is Extended Volley. Gives you +50 projectile speed. It feels like the Incarnon is hit scan. I don't think the Incarnon actually even has projectile speed, but the non-Incarnon does. So if you give yourself projectile speed, it'll be a little bit easier to fill your Incarnon. But then there's this one as well, which is increases base magazine capacity by +30. So this could also help you fill your Incarnon because you're just able to spam more without potentially going in for a reload. But again, this won't affect the Incarnon. So this doesn't affect the Incarnon. This, I don't believe, affects the Incarnon because I'm pretty sure the Incarnon's hit scan. I could be wrong, but it feels like hit scan. So these are just going to be to make it easier to fill the Incarnon. So do you want to make the non-Incarnon almost hit scan with Extended Volley, or do you just want to be able to spam it more so you can fill it easier that way too? The third one here, not very good. Evolved Autoloader, +50% magazine reloaded when holstered. It doesn't affect the Incarnon. Yeah. I don't think this is a great one. I think you pick either the first or the second one here. And in the fourth evolution slot, we're going to be going for Death Trap Trigger. Increases base critical chance by +14% and increases base critical damage multiplier by 0.4. This is base values. Base values are extremely powerful, and so this is an extremely powerful buff. I'm going to skip over the middle one, and we'll go over the third one first here. So the Elemental Balance is increases base status chance by +14. This is not a good one. Don't pick Elemental Balance. Okay, now I'm going to go over the middle one here because this is kind of like a spicy one. High Ground. Increases base critical chance by 25% of the current status chance up to 35. So, if you read this, you'll be like, oh, increases base critical chance by 35%, and that's huge. If I could look at High Ground as base critical by 35, and I compare it to Death Trap Trigger, whereas it increases base critical by 14 and crit damage by 0.4, I would pick the 35 all day long. The problem with High Ground is if we, read it a little bit more carefully here, increases base critical chance by 1/4 of your current status chance, up to 35%. So let's go out of here real quick. And I have a example build here. So this is our build right here. I have an example build where I really went hardcore into status, which is really just the Vial Acceleration slot. But let's switch here. So I have 4 status mods here. I have Galvanized Aptitude, which is 80 status. I have Hammer Shot, which is 80 status. I have Malignant Force, which is, I don't know why I have, I was testing Viral. That's why Viral's on here. But I have the 60-60, which is 60 status, another 60-60, which is 60 status. So that's 4 mods that give me status chance. The Incarnon still only has an 83% status chance, which 1/4 of that is 21%. So we're not even like close to that 35% max. There probably is a specific Warframe or Subsume. Let me know if you know what it is, but there probably is some kind of weird way to give yourself status chance, like externally, maybe through a pet or through a Warframe ability or something like that. And I think in that specific case, if you could give yourself external status chance, I would pick High Ground, because again, if I was just to compare 35% to 14%, I would pick the bigger number. Bigger number equals betterer, of course. But even going for a build, which honestly we're gimping ourselves because Galvanized Aptitude shouldn't be on the build. So you're gimping yourself by putting Galvanized Aptitude on there. And even then, it's only getting up to a 21% crit chance. So now you're comparing 21% crit chance from High Ground to 14 and then a 0.4 crit damage multiplier. Now, crit damage is quite valuable. Crit damage is usually a little bit more valuable than crit chances. So I think for that reason, in a general setup, Death Trap Trigger is going to always win. However, in that specific situation, again, I don't know off the top of my head like what abilities would do it, but if there's some kind of external way to increase status chance, High Ground could be really, really good. So, but we're going to be going for Death Trap Trigger here. Okay. And just to quickly explain why Galvanized Aptitude is not very good, it's similar to the viral situation, where if you're one-shotting things, you don't get much value out of Galvanized Aptitude. So if you read that bottom effect, you get more direct damage per status type affecting the target. So the target has to have a lot of statuses on them for you to get increased damage. You know, so that means you have to be hitting those targets multiple times before they actually die, or before this becomes useful. Also, Galvanized Aptitude is sometimes additive and sometimes multiplicative. If it's additive, it's just flat damage on top of flat damage, which kind of sucks because we already have 360 flat from Deadhead. And if it's multiplicative, it could be worth it, but then you still have the issue where if you're one-shotting things, you're not really getting value. And everywhere I looked, I checked the condition overload mechanics page, I checked the bug reports, I could not see that the Dera Vandal was multiplicative. I know the Incarnon is brand new, so maybe like information will come out that'll be like, oh, it's multiplicative. But as far as everything I was looking at in my testing, it does not look like it's multiplicative. So for that reason, Galvanized Aptitude is kind of a poor choice on this weapon. All right, so we'll go back to our config A. This is the build right here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to show this in 10 minutes of Steel Path gameplay. I'm going to be doing this on a big dumb Inaros with no Archon shards that increase weapon performance. No mods or arcanes on the Inaros that increase weapon performance. And with a pet with no sentinel weapon and no mods on the pet that increase weapon performance. I changed some of my formas on my Worm Prime and I lost my Guardian. I have to find a way to fit my Guardian back here. So unfortunately, my Worm will not be giving my Inaros his shields back. That's okay. All right, let's take the little Dera in here, and we'll see how it does. We're gonna do it on Mott.
How about I send over? Your enemies have grown fierce. Use all that you have learned.
So the normal non-incarnate is just a little assault rifle. It's pretty cool. It has two barrels, like one's on top and one's on the bottom. So if you see, like, they kind of come out of different barrels, which is, it's kind of cool. I like that. It looks nice. All right. And the only thing I'm going to be casting is my 3, which gives me status immunity. So let's fill this Incarnate up. Try to get headshots and not miss everything. You get, like, I think it's 32 shots you get when you're in the Incarnate. Like a kind of like a slower firing pulse rifle. Blast and gas, you're always going to want to play like in a tight area where you can kind of confine enemies. Like maybe like a doorway, an entry point of some kind. But in general, Blast will do better than Viral just because you're one-shotting things. So you don't really get value out of Viral in this particular case. You know, Viral and Blast, the combo of Viral and Blast is pretty sexy, though. I just wouldn't put Viral on this weapon. If you could have, like, a primer pet, like putting Viral, at least one stack of Viral, like a Panzerwelpe onto things, and then doing the Blast thing with this thing, ooh, that would be sexy. So Blast is kind of like a little dot that goes on the enemy. The dot itself is kind of meh, you know, it's alright. But the after effect, when the enemy dies, those dots like all explode. And that's really, really powerful. So like when I'm shooting one enemy and all of a sudden you see everything die around it, it's because that kind of procced. You know, the actual dot effect of Blast is probably the weakest out of all dots, because it doesn't really do anything special. But the after effect, that after effect explosion is amazing. Well, I say Blast is a dot. Blast only ticks one time. I call it a dot because it stays on the enemy for a second and a half, then it does 1 point of damage, or 1 tick of damage, and then it goes away. So I guess it's technically not a dot. It just stays on the enemy for a second and a half, and then it ticks once. Alright, let's see how this does against... Oh, we have Mania. Mania has Zephyr Shield. Don't have the... Oh, he has a shield on. I want to shoot him with this, though, so I'm gonna wait till his shield falls off. There we go. Of course, he's got a ragdoll me. I only shot him a few times, though, and he's half dead already. He's got... There we go. Okay. I thought he had a Zephyr Shields back up. I'm like, no! Let me see what this does against you! Yeah, and the other slot to consider is just Bladed Rounds versus Hammershot. Both are going to be really good. Hammershot is obviously going to do more damage than Bladed Rounds is obviously going to do more damage than Hammershot will. But Hammershot may give you more consistent blast procs, which may equal into more damage if you get more blast procs, because of the status chance. So you could choose to use either of those. Again, Hammershot's a gigantic pain in the butt to farm, but if you have it, it could be really good over Bladed Rounds.
You are ready. Go to extraction.
The other thing to consider, too, is even though you don't have Viral on here, you have Magnetic, which is kind of like Corpus Viral. It's like Viral against Corpus, basically. It has almost the same effect as Viral, except only to shielded dudes. And you actually have a little bit extra effects with Magnetic, too. So, like, not only do you get the Viral effect against shielded dudes, but when their shield breaks, you get a electric proc too, which is nice. So Magnetic's kind of cool. Magnetic, like Viral, it usually likes low alpha weapons instead of high alpha weapons because it's the same thing. If you one-shot a dude, you're not really getting the benefit out of it, right? Like same thing with Viral. So it usually likes low alpha weapons, but the fact that we get it for free on this and we don't really have to like think about it, hey, I'll take it. I'll take it for free. I love punch-through weapons myself. Like, this weapon is, like, right up my alley. I love this type of weapon. I know a lot of people really like AoE weapons, though, so I don't know if this will be, like, most people's cup of tea, because this is a little bit more skill-based. Like, you really should be getting headshots and stuff with it. But for me, I love this type of weapon. I love punch-through weapons that are headshot focused. I didn't know what this weapon was going to be when I got it. I knew when I picked my Incarnons, I wanted to pick the ones that I thought most people weren't going to make builds out of. Like, I thought the Sybaris probably would be the most popular, so I'm like, I'm not going to do the Sybaris because, like, every other YouTuber is going to be picking the Sybaris. So let me pick a weird one. Let me pick, like, the Dera. And what I pick? I picked the Dera and I picked the Sybaris, which is the pistol. I was tempted to choose the Sestra, but I don't know if I actually have the Sestra. I might have to buy a new one or farm a new one. I forgot exactly where you get it. We got Malice coming. Malice is the most dangerous Acolyte. I'm going to stop shooting. I'm going to bait him to put the mag bubble on me. Put it on me. Come on, come on, come on. Give it to me. There we go. And now it's safe to shoot him. Well, it's not safe when he puts the mag bubble on you. It's safe when he puts it on you and then you roll to drop it. Then it's safe. Yeah, let me know what do you like. Do you like Blast or do you like Gas better? I think both would be good. Gas will be really good if you are like holding one single choke point. You could just like load up gas procs or gas clouds in like one choke point and have it be like a friggin' hall of death. And then Blast also wants choke points, but like it's a little bit more, you're a little bit more free to like roam around, right? You can kind of roam around from choke point to choke point. Gas, you usually want to kind of like linger in like one or two places and stack them clouds. We got 15 seconds left. Let's get some kills. I have no idea what this is going to score for kills. It's an Incarnon, so I hope it scores pretty good. I mean, it feels powerful. Alright, so that's 10 minutes. Let's head to Extraction. See what our kill count is. Ooh, 871. Pretty damn close to that 900 mark. I would consider that an excellent weapon. I don't know if I would consider that meta, but, you know, it's only one run. We can't really... It's hard to compare weapons to weapons with only like one run of data, but something like the Torrid might, you know, usually get something like 1,100 kills. So this is a couple hundred kills off.
Critical life support levels. Extraction.
But I really like it. Like I said, this is my cup of tea for a weapon. I really like the skill-based headshot kind of thing. And then you have Blast on it, so you also get some AoE with it too. It's really nice. Alright, so that's how you build out the Dera Vandal Incarnon. I hope you guys liked it. If you liked it, consider giving the video a like. If you haven't subbed yet, consider subbing or tell me what I can do to earn your sub. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Alright.